5th of March 2023. In this Skidmark, I want to talk about something that has been bothering me for a long time. And this is a student activity on the campuses in South Africa. This week, we've seen, once again, violence at Wits University. And then we get this from Briekmerke, the Minister of Higher Education. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Dr. Briekmerke, addressed the National Assembly on Thursday, where he spoke on the ongoing unrest at universities, NSFAS, accommodation allowance caps and plans to fight gender-based violence. Now look at that image. Those people are not protesting. That is riots. Now the reality is, and this is on Blade's doorstep, let him tell us how much expansion did they do to higher education institutes in South Africa since 1994. All I can tell you is that they've destroyed a lot of the capacity at these institutions. They politicized higher education. So we've reached the point that the degrees that most of the students get at higher education institutions today, those degrees are tree climbing degrees. Those things are worthless. And why is that? Because the bulk of the students there shouldn't be there. They are not of the intellectual quality that deserves higher education. The difference is, in the old days, initially in the 50s and the 60s, South Africa laid a foundation of a vast, solid slab of people with skills, electricians, builders, welders, all people with skills that were building the country. That was the generation of my parents. Those people thrived to get a skill that will make it possible for them to build a better life for them and their children. And it was those working people with working practical skills that encouraged their children to get higher education. And not everyone went to university. There was a strict control right throughout your school career, where selection were made based on logical and practical things to make a decision whether you would go into higher education or go into the trades, technical qualifications. And in those years, there were simple rules at the universities. You needed to qualify. Your matric results gave you access to higher education. And then, once you are there, in your second year, for things like engineering and medical and dentistry, you had to qualify to get selected and entry into the medical school or into the dentist school or into the veterinarian school or what. It wasn't automatic, and you were not entitled to it. You had to qualify for that. All of these things. And then there was another rule there. If you failed your first year, you get a second chance to redo that year, or many guys change courses in their second year. And if you failed again, you're out. Then you were out. Nowadays, look at that image. Look at this image. This is not protesters, these are rioters. But the big thing that you must ask yourself is, these people that claim they are students, how many years have they been at university? How many years? I've seen articles where some of these guys have been there 8 years and they're still in their first year. Now the reality is, these students are getting access to the universities from taxpayers' money. Hard-working people's taxes pays for them to be there. And to them, it's a professional loafing period. They are professional students. They never pass, but they collect that fees and that grants and all that shit every year. That's it. Another problem that you have, look at the discipline, the lack of discipline. Bulk of these people calling themselves students are results of the SASA breeding program. Children that grew up without fathers. Children that grew up without discipline. And this is what has been warned against as early as 2005. There were warnings that this is what's going to happen. This is the result. Now we see the result of that breeding program. There is not enough higher education facilities. And the reality is that the quality of these education centers has been severely watered down. Many of those professors that are sitting there today don't even qualify to be really there. They're political appointments. And these students, they don't get qualifications in practical degrees that could mean something to the country. No, they get degrees in humanity, resources and all that type of shit that means nothing, that has got zero economic value. But they sit at these universities getting those grants, getting those monthly allowances, and that's it. To them it's a profession. Look at this image. This is how security guys are trying to protect the higher education premises. Because these rioters, they are not students that are protesting, they're fucking rioters. They destroy and destruct. They burned the university in Mabatu. They burned that. They destroyed it. They destroyed most of the universities in the old homelands. They destroyed. Look what happened to Grahamstown. It's a squatter's camp. There's nothing, none of it. They're doing the same at Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is slowly but surely being dismantled into a riot nest, and that's it. Qualifications, decent qualifications is scarce. And look at this. And then if you can tell me, please write it down in the description, in the comments below this video. How is what they are doing here, how is that part of student problems? This is openly rioting. That's what it is. And we must fund that. And if you talk about it, you're called a racist. The reality is, and that is just my guess, that 80% of these people at these higher education institutions must not be there. They will never get a degree. Never. And you, if you're a black person, you must think about this. Think about it. Do you think when Nelson Mandela studied for his law degree, he studied in an environment like this? Think about that. Higher education is a privilege, not a right. And if you don't respect that, you don't belong there. Please give me a like, subscribe, and share the thing if you agree with what I've said. Thank you for your support.